It's 4 o'clock on Wednesday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi's Quarantini Happy Hour. Woohoo! And welcome, everybody. Thank you, fake band. Thank you, fake audience. I can't believe people still send me emails saying, what do you use for the band? I just got one of those emails days ago. There it is. That's the band right there. Doesn't get any better than that. Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. Let's see. Ooh, look at that. There are actually people in the chat room already. Yay. Let's see who we've got there. Oh, I didn't even check my my levels today. How's the levels looking? Hello. There we go. There we go. Okay, levels are good. Hello, Akira Canyon, Dan Weber, Dean Turner, Darren Fletcher, Element Studios, Andre Stepanian. You guys have no idea how much fun we're going to have on this show today. I can't wait. Well, damn, we're a minute into the show, and we've only got about, 6 or 7 of you guys in there. Where is everybody? They're going to miss a good one if they don't show up. Hello, Jeff Taft. Ken Bearden, hello. Let me see. Let me put the audience over there, the fake audience. Hello, Marcus. How are you? I'll tell you guys now, but I'm going to tease at the end of the show. Tomorrow, we're going to have... Is it tomorrow yet? Is today Wednesday? Crap, I said today's Wednesday. It's not Wednesday, it's Tuesday, but who cares? It's Cinco de Mayo. Oh my goodness, happy Cinco de Mayo. Anyway, yeah, tomorrow Marcus and Sherry are going to be our special guests on the show. I got to tell you, I'm a little loopy. I've got a midday drunk going on today. You know why? I made myself, I had some leftover coffee from this morning, so I made some iced coffee, and then I thought, I'll bet that would be really good as a mocha iced coffee. So I took out some Trader Joe's chocolate syrup and put that in there. And then I thought, I wonder how it would be with some Kahlua in honor of Cinco de Mayo. And so I put a shot of Kahlua in there, and I'm halfway through the drink, and I'm a little buzzed. So there you go. For a guy who hardly ever drinks, today I am right in the middle of the day. Nancy Khalil, Alex Dillon, Tony Salazzo. You're welcome for the reply if you're talking to me. Wind Chimes Music, Lou Lewis, Joseph Alonso, Il Raso Emil, Liz Cohen. Hello, Liz Cohen. Party on, Michael. Peter Rahill, Robert Vellacourse. Anyway, Cinco de Mocha. Yes, add heavy cream. I did. I got to show you guys something. If you've never had this coffee creamer, there we go. Natural Bliss, whatever it is, coffee creamer. It's really good. It's basically heavy cream and lots of sugar. Makes every cup of coffee a joy to drink. Hello, Yuka R. Hi from Florida. Hello, John Pearson, Solid Air Music, Jesse J. Peck. Caffeine high, no, it's Kahlua high. Keith LeBrant says his wife uses that. Solid Air says it's his wife's favorite. Yeah, I thought I had, like I was the only guy in the world that knew about it, and that was true like 4 years ago. It's not anymore. It's hard to get now. Yeah, it's like summer here too today, Peter. It's gorgeous outside. I actually went out in the backyard for like 5 minutes while I was eating a taco that I made out of leftover barbecue chicken, and I would say in the shade it was like mid-70s maybe, but man, in the sun, I'm actually getting a tan. Okay, so all kinds of fun stuff to do today. How'd you like that show yesterday? Yesterday, right? Monday. I am so lost on my days. Yesterday's show with the Highfields and Rob Shirelli. That was great, wasn't it? I'm just so proud of all three of them. Each of them separately, I mean, I gotta say, I'm going to give a shout out to the ladies because I got to say, maybe I was being a sexist, but I used to think that, um, Nate was the multi instrumental brains of the operation, and Kaylee was just the pretty voice. She's much more than that. She is actually an equal partner in every sense of the word, musically, businessly. Really, it took three special people, each of them strong in their own right, to come together to make that little trio and have that great music come out of them. So congratulations to them, man. I'm just so proud of them and love them all as people, which makes it so much nicer. Okay, so we are going to start out today's show with a little walk down memory lane. Remember the other day we were talking about the table that I started Taxi on, the little wooden table? So about 15 minutes ago, I went upstairs and pulled out a shoebox. We've all got that shoebox of photos, our entire life history in a shoebox. And I was looking for a photo of the first 30 days of Taxi, and I found it. But I found a bunch of other photos I'm going to share with you today. So there we have it, folks. That is literally the startup of Taxi. That's a barbed wire cactus on the right side there. That was my Macintosh 2CI computer that we started the company on. I don't have that wooden chair anymore. And boy, was that thing uncomfortable. I sat on it for the first 3 years of the company. But there's the little wooden table, and that very table is sitting right there. Right back there by the staircase. Isn't that cool? I mean, that was the beginning of a company. Some people do it in a garage. I did it in a one-bedroom apartment. And that shot, notice the thing, those were all the submissions right there in the burritos on those little plastic shelving things on the floor. And notice I was sorting submissions that day, bunching them by listing number on the floor. I mean, it doesn't get any more primitive than that. Here's my lovely wife back when we used to send out the listings. We would take every one of them. We'd stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning, folding every one of them and stapling them and putting addresses on by hand and stamping them and blah, blah, blah. There's my wife. And she, you know what? She's 70, still out of the country, 7,500 miles away. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. And she did 10 hours of Taxi work, not today, but yesterday. She's doing some HTML work for our web designer, where, taking a bunch of old pages from the old website that we're bringing over to the new one, old articles that people are complaining are no longer on the website. So we've had to do a lot of converting of URLs and all kinds of other HTML stuff to them. So my wife got trained on how to do that. She's been doing it remotely while she's locked down 7,500 miles away. All right, so here comes another shot that I was looking for, and I can't believe I found this. See if you can figure out who the guy is closest to my fingers. I don't see anybody saying anything in the chat room. Yep, that is Rob Shirelli. That was probably the first 60 days of Taxi, and I took all the screeners out for a dinner one night. I think there were 7 or 8 of them. The guy sitting next to him is Robert Margoloff, who's a legendary audio producer, studio designer, all that stuff kind of guy. Anyway, so that's what Shirelli looked like when he was 12. Here's a picture that's weird. It was shot on film, so it's kind of like a double exposure, like the whoa. Come back. There I am. Anyway, so this is a double exposure, but see if you recognize the person all the way in the back. Remember I mentioned Barbara Vanderlyn the other day? That's the blonde-haired lady sitting down. Lots of blonde hair there. And the guy with the sunglasses. How do I... Oh, it's so hard to do this backwards. Yep, Skunk Baxter. There he is. The Skunk Man. The Edge. All right. Yeah, he's from the Doobeer Brothers. No, the Doobie Brothers and Steely Dan. Yep. All right. See if you can recognize this person. The guy with the shirt over his shoulder. This was in my studio in Fort Lauderdale back around 1980, 81. Yes, Darren Moss. That was Doug Minnick. Very good. I can't believe you know him. Just spoke to Doug for 2 hours the other night. Anybody got that one figured out yet? Your third grade math teacher? Could have been. I don't know. No, he was actually... Yep. Keith LeBrant's got it. That, my friends, is Eddie Money. All right, let's see. There was the lobby of my studio in Fort Lauderdale. That's the studio. We did Melanie, Neil Young, Cheap Trick, Eddie Money, Marshall Tucker Band. A whole bunch of people recorded there. Anyway, that was our humble little lobby. I'm gonna make it cooler in here. Maybe it's the Kahlua, but I feel a little bit warm. Okay. Here is yours truly, also in that studio in Fort Lauderdale, singing background vocals. Obviously, I was having fun because I was using a couple of 87 Neumann U87 pop filters inside my shirt, and nobody noticed. No, this wasn't a criteria. This was a triad recording. Let's see. Oh, yeah. That's right. Moobs. That's what they're called. Michelle Lasco. Thank you. All right. See if you can figure out who the guy sitting in front of me. I'm all wrapped up in tape in the background. The guy sitting in front of me at the console. Look at the shorts on that dude. I never owned shorts that short, thank God. Anyway, any idea who the guy is sitting at the console with his finger up his nose? It's hard holding him up here. Come on, people. Somebody venture a guess. This was also in the Fort Lauderdale studio. I'll give you a hint. Nope, not Eddie Van Halen. His initials were PT. Damn, hard to hold up there. PT. Remember Platinum Discs? Yes. Steve Miller? No. Pat Travers? Yes. That is Pat Travers himself doing, I have no idea what. Let me look at this more closely. Nope, I was looking to see if there were any mirrors or razor blades in that shop, but no, I don't know what he was doing up there with his nose. I was in Fort Lauderdale from like 1979 through late 81, I think. That was a band called the Lloyd Ellery Band that I produced a million years ago. That was also in the studio in Fort Lauderdale. That was the room that we did, we did all this stuff. I did a ton of Neil Young stuff in that room, but Melanie Ballroom Streets was done in there. All those artists I showed you before. It's actually a good room, but notice everything back then had like pretty much dead walls, carpeted floors. Why did they all go to that studio? Because we did good work, I guess. All right, look carefully at this one. That was actually my car. That's me. I'm one of the guys sitting on the car. And next to me, see the guy standing up with the blue shirt on and the blonde hair? So between me, it's hard to get it to stay focused. Sorry. There we go. Anyway, that was one of the Eagles stopped by that day. That was actually on a day off from their record, and I knew him. Cass says the orange shag hides the vomit. Yes. I can't remember. It was one of the earlier Eagles. Anyway, that was on a Saturday, and we were all getting ready to drive down to the Florida Keys, and I think he came by to pick something up. I think it was Felder, yeah. Let's see what else we got here. All right, so you've all heard of Criteria Studios because I talk about it all the time. This was Criteria Studio A. That was me setting up drums. I can't remember which band, but this was after I had left and moved to New York. I actually went back to Criteria to do a record with somebody. And this was the room, this was Studio A. That's where the Allman Brothers did Eat a Peach, and a million other big records were done in that room. So we set up the drums out in the middle of it. It was a big room, like a 30 by 60 room, maybe bigger. Had movable walls and had these clouds that you could raise or lower from the ceiling and with lights in them. So I attached microphones to them and then raised them back up and used them as overheads for the drum kit that was sitting out on the floor. Here's a shot from inside the drum setup, looking at the control room. I once worked on a Jackie Gleason record there in that room. I've worked on a lot of... Firefall was done in that room. The first Firefall record was done in that room. Allman Brothers Eat a Peach. I mean, just a million records were done in that room. There I am in my Billy Joel sneakers. Setting up the mics on that. There I am in New York with my beloved SSL. Notice the pizza sauce stain right in the middle of that thing. I was, I think, about 30 years old in that shot. I love that console. I love that room. Notice two tracks in the background, bunch of video gear because we did a lot of mixed-to-picture stuff in that room. And behind me, can't really see it, but yeah, above the two tracks and off to the side, you can't see it, but we had like real Pultecs and real LA2s and just all kinds of stuff. And now, all right, let's see if you guys know who that is. Boy, Keith LeBrant, you're on fire. Everybody's on fire. Yep, that is Eric Clapton at his house in the Bahamas. I got to know him pretty well, and at some point he said, I want you to come down for the weekend, and I did. I started going down there all the time on weekends because it was on Paradise Island, which is part of Nassau, which was a very short seaplane flight from Miami, and that was... I got there that weekend, and the Rolling Stones were there, staying at his house on break from a tour. And we'd been up all night partying wildly. I mean, all night, like till sunrise, with red fireman helmets on with flashing lights on top and like yellow safety helmets and squirt guns and rubber-tipped dart guns, having an all-out war inside of this very large house. Everybody else had gone to sleep. And it was literally just Eric and I think like the cleaning lady in the kitchen. And yeah, this was after 461 Ocean Boulevard, and this was probably a year after 461 Ocean Boulevard. Anyway, I said to him, Eric, I've known you now for a while. I've never asked for an autograph or take a picture because it was not considered good studio etiquette back then. It's not like today where everybody's got a cell phone. They're always taking pictures. Back then, you rarely took pictures of any of the big artists you worked with. And I said to him, come on, let me get a shot. He was reading People magazine. Can't really see it in the shot, but he's reading People magazine with Bob Dylan on the cover. And he said, I said, come on, you're reading about Bob Dylan. And he goes, okay, one shot. And then he purposely flopped the cover over as I took the shot. And I said, come on. And he goes, sorry, dude, I told you one shot. Anyway, so there you go. That's my life in pictures. Thought you guys might enjoy that. Okay. So we are putting out a series of 3 COVID-19 post-pandemic requests for advertising music. We're going to build 3 taxi compilations and send those folders out to all the ad agencies that we can. And so the first one's already out, and the second one I think is coming out Thursday. Yeah, anyway, excuse me. So I want to read you this. It's a very long listing, but we're trying to put together, I don't know that anybody else in the industry is putting together compilations for ad agencies for different kinds of ads that you would expect. A lot of them are already running, a lot of the feel-good commercials that like insurance companies are putting out there, or there's a company, I can't remember the name, like it's kind of like Home Depot, we're there for you kind of stuff. Michael Sparty says happy music. Well, some of it is. I mean, some of it, the first listing that's already out there is like, thank God we survived this. We're getting back to life again kind of music. This one is coming out, I believe, Thursday. So hang in there. I'm going to read it to you. Give you guys, nobody else in the world has heard this yet, but you guys get a little head start. Lots of heartfelt songs about gratitude are needed for a taxi compilation going directly to several top ad agencies that will be cranking out post-pandemic TV commercials in the near future. This batch is for commercials that we anticipate featuring the heroes of the pandemic and how grateful we are for what they've done. We've come up with some key concepts, keywords, ideas, and phrases to get your creative gears turning, but please don't limit yourself to just these. We encourage you to come up with some of your own. Just some of the heroes we could think of are doctors, nurses, hospital workers, scientists, paramedics, police officers, postal workers, truck drivers, grocery store and pharmacy workers, firefighters, lab techs, military personnel, farmers, restaurants and food bank workers, flight attendants and pilots, delivery personnel, caregivers, etc. Some of the keywords and concepts are: not all heroes wear capes. Thank you. Yep, just thank you. You were there when we needed you. Your sacrifice hasn't gone unnoticed. Courage, facing fear, helping others, working hard to beat the odds, working side by side, stepping up, saving lives, taking risks, giving hope, shoulder to shoulder, go the extra mile, long hours, heroism, gratitude, appreciation, giving it all, risking it all, asking for nothing in return, selflessness, caring, honor, and pride. Let's see, lyric themes. We think most of these TV commercials will show very moving montages of everyday people doing extraordinary things. General concepts in your lyrics could work better than telling full stories. Universal lyrics that work well in montages showing all types of heroes might be the best way to go, but that's just an educated guess on our part. Whatever your concept is, your chorus lyric needs to be a simple, big, catchy phrase that sums up the central message. Universal lyrics that avoid specific names, dates, times, places, brands, and profanity will likely be best. Phrases that mention time or place in a general way could possibly work, like the day this started versus last Tuesday at 4:55 p.m. Emotions. Tug at the heartstrings. Put a lump in the viewer's throats and a tear in their eye. Make them well up with pride, feel the universal feelings we all share about how grateful and proud we are of the heroes who've helped us get through this unprecedented time in human history, and we are. Possible genres and styles. You'd be wise to go with popular genres like singer-songwriter, adult contemporary, pop, country, anthemic rock, emotional indie pop and indie rock, soul, gospel, etc. You'd be smart to avoid genres that are relatable to a wide audience, that aren't relatable to a wide audience, like death metal, prog rock. You get the idea. Tempo. Ballads, down tempo, and mid tempo might work best, but we're not ruling out big, anthemic, uplifting, up tempo ish songs for some of the genres and lyric themes. We're not giving references for this request as we think they may be too limiting. We recommend watching lots of TV commercials before you sit down to write for this. Songs that don't have a long intro and get to the point quickly, which I'm not, are advisable. Most TV commercials are only 30 seconds, and oftentimes it's the hook of the chorus that gets used. Yeah, if you have any delusions about your entire song being featured in the commercial, shake that off right now. Your production vocals need to be strong enough that they'd sound great in a big national TV commercial. In other words, top-notch vocals and broadcast quality. Our A&R team will have a simple mandate. Is it great? Can you imagine hearing it in a big national ad campaign? Does it sound ready to go as it is? In other words, no demos. Because the selected songs will be going directly to ad agencies and their music supervisors, should you land a song in a commercial, it's extremely likely that you will keep 100% ownership of your composition and master rights. No publisher splits. We have no way to predict what the sync or creative fees will be. Digital/online ads pay as little as a few $100s. Big national TV commercials can pay an estimated $5,000 to $100,000 and anywhere in between. Please submit as many songs as you'd like, blah, blah, blah. So the rest is all boilerplate. But there you have it. You guys got to hear something before everybody else. How cool is that? Are you looking for a full song? Yeah. They will want to hear full songs. They'll, chop them up, move them around, take pieces of them. But yeah, you can't just send like a chorus. I've heard of that being requested before, but it's so rare that I'm going to consider it not a thing. Do we still get CDs from members? Yes, I would say, I don't know, maybe, 5 CDs, maybe 10 a month, maybe. That's probably pushing it. All right, Marcus says, wait till you hear the new track I did today. I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, yeah, I wanted you guys have become my little, COVID family. That didn't come out exactly as I wanted, but you get the idea. I think I'll have some more of that drink. Nothing like a nice cold iced coffee in the middle of the afternoon. Are they still burritos? Yeah, people will send in CDs. We still get on, like twice a year we'll get a cassette from somebody, and we've got to go scampering all over the office trying to find a cassette player. All right. I know. One other little slice of my personal life that I want to share with you. My wife will probably want to kill me for doing this, but she was okay with me showing it to the staff. So I'm guessing that's kind of okay that I show you guys. So, oops, I didn't want to turn on that. So my wife is in Israel. We were there together visiting our kids back in mid to late February. Deb stuck around to spend more time with the kids. I had to get back to work, and there was a point where she could have flown home, but we were both a little afraid to have her get on a plane with God only knows what floating around in that recirculated air. So I said, you figure it out, honey, because whatever I advise you, whatever I tell you, you're going to choose the opposite and then blame it on me anyway. So just, and she stayed there, and she ended up spending, I think, 5 or 6 weeks with some very close friends of ours in their house. There were 10 people, 2 of which were toddlers in the house, and now she is in an Airbnb that's very close to one of our daughter's apartments. But it's great. She's been spending a lot of time with our girls, and she's very happy about that. I'm happy for her. But she has not been able to get through to the airline to find out what the deal is. She had a flight booked to return originally, I want to say on March 23rd. Then she got bumped to like April 10th and then April 17th. And then it was May 3rd. And she can't get a hold of anybody at the airline. She can't get them to respond to an email. So I think it was yesterday, she got in her car and drove to the airport in Tel Aviv, Ben Gurion Airport. And this is what it's like.
Oh my gosh. Here I am at the airport. I can't make it myself on an LL flight. It's not looking good here. I've never seen anything so dead in my life. I mean, nature looks nice. It's kind of like after the apocalypse hit, there's just nobody here. Anyway, wish me luck.
Anyway, let's see. I think there was one other one. Okay, so yeah, this is a big international airport.
Okay, I managed to get in. Check it out. Okay, I'm gonna walk down. I can't even get my favorite baboikas. That's even closed.
Check that out.
On my way down to.
I'm glad she made it out of there alive. I guess there was nobody there to like kidnap her. But, oh man, that was just who will ever see an airport totally devoid of any human beings? I think that was a once in a lifetime thing, and very few people will experience that. Ray Hill says, looks like the airport in Lahui. He's talking about on the island of Kauai, no people. Oh, come on. Even they've got more people than that. Anyway, okay. So that's that. Did that. Oh! Keith LeBrant is in the chat room, as he's been for the last couple of days, and he very, very sweetly shot me an email. Sorry, my chair's in the wrong spot. Shot me an email a little while ago and said, hey, Michael, do you want to give away a copy of Composer Catalog? So let me talk about Composer Catalog. Keith is a programmer, a coder, and a web designer. That's his day gig, and he needed a way to organize his music because he makes a lot of it and has been pretty darn successful. So he built this thing for himself and then built it out for other people to use as well, and has been selling it now for several years. And I know a lot of taxi members love it. So we're going to give away a copy of Composer Catalog, his software, to whoever puts the best comment in the comment section after this video becomes, an archive up on YouTube tonight. Whoever puts the best question up there in the next 24 hours, we will hook you up with Keith. He will give you a download code and you will get a free copy of Composer Catalog. You should go check it out, composercatalog.com. That address, one more time, is composercatalog.com. If you need a way to organize your stuff, know which things you've submitted, which are in which catalogs, all the different variations of different songs or tracks that you've got, Composer Catalog is what you need. So there you go. Here's a question for you guys. A friend of mine that's a music supervisor, I'm pretty sure I could get him to do a show with me. Possibly next Monday, this coming Monday's a regular 90-minute episode of Taxi TV. do you guys want me to get a music supervisor on the show? And if I do you guys promise, for those who are new to the club and don't know any better, please don't say, how do I get my music to you? And I'm tempted to not say who it is. I'm going to probably have him join us by telephone. Boy, Patrick Adams, you missed a lot. Oh, there goes Ariana just posted the web address for Composer Catalog, so you guys can all check it out. Can you do that like every 5 or 10 minutes, Ariana, so that they get more shots at getting it? Anyway, this guy is just one of my favorite music supervisors. He's a giver. He is what I call a real professional music supervisor. There are some music supervisors who are better classified maybe as music pickers. This guy knows the legal side, the licensing side, the editor's side, the composition side, the publishing side. He knows every possible angle that a music supervisor should really know to be highly effective. And he's just a great guide. He's very articulate, but I just don't want him to have people Googling him after the show. I've had problems in the past where I've had people, industry pros on the show, and usually by the time they leave the office and get back to their office or their home that evening, people have Googled them, they found their email addresses. Hey man, how can I get my music to you? And they call me about it, and they're nice about it to me, but I can tell by the tone in their voice that they'd prefer that I don't ever subject that to them again, and I understand that. So anyway, I'm thinking about having this guy join us, but be unidentified. So you guys can get the benefit of his incredible wisdom without him having to spend the rest of the lockdown swatting away, questions from people that will Google him and harass him.
According to Merriam-Webster, to annoy or bother in a constant or repeated way, to make repeated attacks against. See the full definition for harass in the English Language Learner's Dictionary.
My phone heard me say Google. It launched. That's funny. It's a good thing I didn't mention Alexa. I was sitting down here the other night and I said her name. She's upstairs in our bedroom. And she actually gave the weather or something. It was really funny. Have him wear a mask. There you go. I didn't even think about that, but you guys, he's been at the Road Rally. You guys would probably recognize him. Okay, and now we're going to do something we've never done on the show before. One of you people in the chat room is about to get a phone call from me. This is a little surprise attack. This person has no idea that I'm calling. Yeah, my wife knows Alexa is upstairs.
Michael Laskow.
John Pearson, how are you, man? Is it okay? Is it okay if I put you on the air?
Time delay here. Let me turn this. Oh my gosh, sorry. I was on a write with a friend of mine, and we're trying to get a song for this COVID compilation. I missed a lot of what you were saying.
Well, I didn't talk about this. I just decided it would be fun today to pick a member out of the chat room and call them up. And when I saw your name pop up, I went, okay, I'm calling John Pearson. So welcome to the show, John Pearson.
It's an honor to be here. Can I get applause?
Yeah, you get the applause. Can you guys hear John okay? I'm waiting for the chat room to catch up with us. I'm assuming they can hear you. Anyway, well, cool. As long as I hit you with the surprise attack, great, they can hear you. So let's talk about, John has been, I've known him now for, 4 or 5 years. He helps out setting up the stage at the Road Rally. We've spoken on the phone before, a couple of times in the past, I believe, exchanged some emails. But of late, John has started to become, hot. And I don't mean like hot, like good looking, because I wouldn't want to say that about him. But he's on fire, man. He's getting a lot of deals and some placements. So I chose him to be our passenger profile in the current taxi newsletter that's out there. So I'm just going to ad-lib some questions because I didn't really know for sure who I was going to call. All right, what do you attribute your recent successes to? Why have you started gaining traction recently as opposed to 2 or 3 years ago?
Oh man, you know what? And this kind of ties into what who you had on Taxi TV last night, the Highfields.
Yeah.
I've got to say it was kind of like an epiphany when I think it was 2018, maybe 2017. They were in the theater with Rob Shirelli.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that wrong, probably.
Shirelli.
But they opened up my eyes to the world of of the indie rock type of ad stuff with Let's Go and some of the other stuff that they write and then go big, go bold.
Right.
It's like that it blew my mind. It's like, okay, this is fun. It's you're just working on a phrase and you're just trying to figure out different ways to say the hook. And to me, being a bass player all my life, it's fun to do rhythmic kind of stuff like that and fool with lines and make lines sound good that that you can kind of trip over. I don't know. But that's what opened it up for me, and all of a sudden I started trying to write that style, and it doesn't come overnight for sure. But I just kept working at that and listening to what was on TV, and then with Callie J, when she started blowing up, just listen to what she does and trying to kind of commingle the two ideas and come up with my own version and draw off my strengths, which trying to groove oriented stuff. But
you're so right, because really simple is often harder to do because it's less words, less notes, less of everything. And in the context of music for advertising, it's got to be simple. It's got to make your point in 4 words, and it's got to be direct and obvious, Yeah,
and not too cliche, but I guess one of the things that I forget, it was probably at one of the classrooms at the rally, and I'll just put a plug in. The rally, if taxi members haven't gone to the road rally, you really need to, because it's great to submit to these listings, but the road rally is it is magic. It's so much happens there. But to get back to my point, somebody said something in an advertising class, one of the road rally classrooms, but about don't use negatives. And let me see if I can phrase it. So you don't say don't feel lonely. You need to say the opposite. You need to say the actual positive phrase.
Oh.
So you don't need, instead of you don't need to be lonely, you need to. It throws a negative connotation, even though you're saying don't be lonely. I don't know. And for the up tempo stuff, that was another little thing that opened up my eyes, and it's just a whole bunch of little things that are accumulated over the 5 road rallies I've been to. And especially since seeing the Highfields, and then of course watching Taxi TV and Robin Fredericks and all the stuff that she says and your other guests, it just accumulates.
Yeah, you're right about don't be lonely. You could counter that with feel the hug.
Yeah,
it is the opposite of being lonely, and it's right now it's ironic because we really can't hug, but you could feel the hug, and that summarizes the opposite of feeling alone.
You hear me typing in the background as I'm writing that down?
I've been having a blast. I just read, you might have been on that call when I read the second one of our songs for advertising that we're putting together 3 types of compilations that are going out to all the big ad agency people. And I've been writing up, the keywords and the key phrases. And really, I spent like 2 hours today on just that one listing, or just that aspect of that one listing.
Wow.
And really, you got to dig deep for that stuff. And I'm sure that I probably came up with, I don't know, 20, 25, and there are probably 100 of them out there. But it's fun. It's a fun challenge to make yourself think in those terms. But you're right. That's the key to the whole thing is, no negatives, keep it simple, make it punchy, all that stuff, because it's got to be impactful and get the message across. Sometime you're getting a portion of that 30-second commercial to do it in.
Yeah, and I mean, we're all feeling very similar feelings right now, and it's not to dwell on how rough this is on us, and I'm not trying to make light of it, but to talk about what you're missing, what you miss the most, what you want. It's just, to me, that's the approach I'm making. And the co-write I was just on, we were just trying to get one in for your last compilation. That deadline's on the 13th, but
yeah.
And it's all about trying to tweak the lyrics just so they're not. It sure doesn't have to be on the nose. You don't want it to be on the nose, but it has to touch what we're all feeling, the lack of something. To me, and but not saying it in a negative way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you miss most while being quarantined? And I said, sushi. And they said, not your wife? You haven't seen your wife in 2.5 months? And I said, well, yeah, I get my wife at least twice a day on a video chat, and actually it's been kind of nice. We feel connected, although apparently our daughter's like, Mom, get home to Dad. Don't you guys miss each other? It's like, we talk twice a day on a video chat. It really hasn't been that bad, but I miss sushi, so I get it. Maybe that's the title of a song right there, is I Miss Sushi.
Can't take sushi over a phone.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that might be a little pigeonholed, Michael.
Yeah, a little narrow, huh?
But yeah, but we're all feeling very similar things, and the lack of being able to be with people, and just golly, because it's going to go on for a long time as everything ramps back up. But yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I worry about, I've actually been giving quite a bit of thought to how I'm going to feel and how you guys will feel. The day is going to come where I won't be doing the Quarantini happy hours anymore. Being home gives me a certain kind of freedom to do this every day. But when I'm in the office, I mean, it's a constant, most days, it's a constant barrage of people within the company reaching out to me for stuff. Right now, it's the phone, it's the emails, all that kind of stuff. So it somehow doesn't feel as abusive or busy as when I'm in the office. So I have the freedom to do this here. But at some point, I would imagine in another week or two, we're probably going to be allowed to go back to work. Although right now, they're talking about opening things up, I think this coming Monday. But I don't think offices accounted for it, although our office is pretty big and we're all pretty spread out. So we could easily, stay with, what's the phrase, something distant, socially distant.
Social distant.
Yeah, I'd rather be emotionally distant. What do you mean? I don't care. But
well, it's funny when you said about when the quarantinis are over. It's like I was thinking that the other day. I was like, God, I've gotten so used to being home by 6 o'clock Central Time. I'm in Nashville, so it's like I want to be in front of the screen and see all the people I know from the forums, and of course see you and see what's new. And it's always a cool time to hook up with everybody. But Yeah, it's going to be withdrawal. Quarantini withdrawal.
I know. We have to go to rehab for quarantine.
Mediford Clinic.
So I think it was Peter Rahill or somebody in the chat room about 10 minutes ago said, make sure you ask John about his templates. So do you want to elaborate a little bit on how you make up your templates and how you use them effectively to be more productive?
Yeah. So I usually do vocal songs, but one of your mentors, teachers, I'll just say his first name, Chuck. You know who I mean.
Right.
And he heard a couple of my instrumentals, and he wanted me to do a 20-song collection for him. And I don't do instrumentals, so I just do those when I'm having a freeze on lyrics. So anyway, so I started doing these, and I play acoustic, okay, but not really well, but with enough takes, you can sound like a pro. So anyway, I just made up a template of about maybe 25 different instruments that I've come across, virtual instruments on Logic. I use Logic Pro and as my DAW.
Yeah.
And just arpeggiated instruments and pads that sound pretty cool and work really well. I don't use them all on every song, but I bring them in and out. But just to have all those cool sounding instruments already loaded into it, I call it a template. But it really speeds things up. And my tambourine loops, Pro Tools has a great bunch of loops in there, tambourine loops and claps. So I know where to find them. They're all favorited, and I can bring them right in. That speeds up things so much without having to go through all the loops and try to find this and that. But yeah, that's as far as template. That's what I use there, and the drummer in Logic is so awesome.
Wow.
It's just an algorithm that can come up with things that I just would not have thought of, but they're what a real drummer would do, and it just makes your instrumental or song sound so much better. I don't use it on everything. I use Easy Drummer too. But anyway, that's as far as the template. That's what I use. About 20 between 20 and 25 virtual instruments, and change keys, of course.
Yeah.
In between songs and tempos. I usually the library owner that requested this said to keep it between 90 and 120 beats per minute. That's kind of like a sweet spot. So I didn't know that until I heard from him. So that's a good thing to keep in mind for if you're doing instrumental type of positive acoustic up-tempo stuff. So
yeah, if I were you or any of you guys, I mean you in a universal way, and I actually, one of my goals for 2020 is to get Logic and start laying down some tracks, because I really haven't worked in the digital domain, so I'd love to take what I know about old-fashioned studios and apply that to doing some recording at home just for fun. And
that'd be awesome.
I'm the kind of person that I would get lost in sounds, because that's how I grew up in the industry, and I can see how easy that would be to go down a rabbit hole. It's like you're looking for a tambourine sound, and you audition 20 of them, and then you go back to number 3 and number 16 and number 19 and then number 20, and then you run it through a compressor, and you go, gee, I wonder how that would sound with reverb. Oh, I wonder how it would sound with that kind of reverb. Maybe I'll try a plate. No, I'm going to try a small room. No, let me try a large room. No, let me try some slap on it. And, oh, you know what's a little bit bright on the top end, so I'm going to roll off a little bit of top. Oh, I'm going to add like some hand claps to that tambourine. And before you know it, you've spent 3 hours on a tambourine sound and totally forgotten what you were sitting down to work on.
Yep.
That will be totally me when the day comes.
Yeah, it can be brutal, but I guess I have ADD or something. Never diagnosed, but I'm self-diagnosing right now.
Yeah.
I don't have time to do that. I find something that works, and because I've got so many ideas that are popping in all the time, I've got to get them down and go on to the next one. So I kind of give myself a limit, not a physical limit as far as time constraint, but I know when I'm done. So I use pretty much the same tambourine loops, claps on just about everything, and it just, different grooves, of course, but yeah, I do go down the rabbit hole occasionally when I'm trying to find a new sound, and because there are tons. Logic has something called alchemy, and you get stuck in alchemy, and there's just all these wonderful sounds that are really cool, and they just make you creative. So anyway,
I really thought that's what I would be doing during the quarantine, with my wife not being home, no kids at home. I mean, I'm an empty nester in the truest sense of the word. I'm sitting here in a house with nobody and no distractions, and I've watched very little TV, surprisingly, but every night. It's funny, my wife calls me on a video call pretty much every night right around 11 o'clock, because that's 9 o'clock in the morning for her. She's had her first cup of coffee, and she will like me better after she's had that coffee. So I'm sitting here right where I'm sitting right now talking to all of you guys. Every night, Deb calls me on a video chat at 11 o'clock my time, 9 a.m. her time. And every night I walk upstairs around 11:30 with regret that I didn't just download Logic and just start playing with it. Yeah, but
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but what I did, in 2016 I ordered Logic, 2017, 2016, anyway, and before I even got it, I went online and looked up tutorials on Logic, and I wrote everything down freehand because I remember better when I write instead of type, and I can't type more anyway. But I wrote everything down, like 20 different tutorials and all the bullet points, and so when Logic finally showed up, because I'd never used Apple a MacBook before. I had an iPhone, but I was always a PC guy. Mm-hmm. So, but I had to learn everything using a Mac and Pro Tools at the same time, but I had all this stuff, these pages of notes I could go back to, and it got me started, and I think it only took 4 or 5 months before I got something signed.
Wow.
So you'll, with your experience and your ears, if you stay out of the rabbit hole, have the coyote go after the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole, and
there you know, I haven't had a new gopher mound in about 4 or 5 days now, and I haven't seen the coyote for a week. I'm wondering if one of the other neighbors got it trapped. I don't know.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I know what happened to the gophers. I don't know what happened to the coyote, but it wasn't me. My next door neighbor said to me the other day, a very nice lady that lives next door to us, that they too are having gopher problems now. No surprise there. And I was out in the backyard the other day looking at over the gopher whole situation, and she and I were chatting. She goes, "By the way, we found a gopher floating in our pool this morning." And I said, "Was it a live gopher or a not live gopher?" And she goes, "No, it was dead." And I said, "Wasn't me." And she laughed.
The coyote was washing its dinner.
There you go. All right. Well, man, this has been great. Thank you for letting me just catch you off guard like that. But thank you for sharing that information, and congratulations on your newfound success. I love when I see taxi members have that like initial burst of success, and it's not just a one-off. Once you get 2 or 3 things and you see the momentum starting to build, that's so satisfying for me as the owner of the company. So I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you, and wish you nothing but continued success, John.
Well, thank you, Michael. And just real quick, thank you for having this company. And I think, like I said in the transmitter letter, I didn't know anything about film TV in 2015. I had no idea what it was, and now 5 years later, I'm finally doing something, and it's really fulfilled me. It's really it's just given me something really strong to work forward to, and I don't know. I live for this.
Wow. Well,
I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for saying that. You're welcome. And I live, I think you guys know that about me. I live vicariously through your success. It gives, you guys are my hit record or my big, song placement. And it makes all of us in the office just feel really good when we hear about our members being successful. So thank you. And hopefully we'll be able to have a road rally this year. I look forward to seeing you in November, and I will talk to you very soon, I'm sure.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everybody.
John Pearson, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Well, that was fun. You have to do that more often. So yeah, once again, Ariana's being very good about reminding you guys that to put your comments under the video in about 10 minutes when it goes live on YouTube. And the person that asked the best question, Ariana will connect you with Keith LeBrant, and you will get yourself an awesome piece of software called Composer Catalog. Everybody should go check it out. Excuse me, composercatalog.com. And tomorrow, I'll hopefully know what day it is when I start the show. For those of you who came late to the party, I said, I hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. But it's not. It's Tuesday. So with that, I bid you a fond farewell. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. See you tomorrow for another exciting episode of Taxi Quarantini Happy Hour. Bye-bye.